So Jason, how many people in this office, because where he was still being nice about the on-staff person, for one thing, just to get in this a little bit more, you guys don't know enough to manage an on-staff person.
Right.
You absolutely don't know enough. Are there things that you could do in your office to help? Yes, you could go after your reviews and do photos and post to Facebook and stuff like that. But you can't do all this other stuff.
And that's okay, because you're an HVAC guy.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Owner.
That's what we're here for. Yeah. We're here to say yes, sir, and do the work.
Right.
Not all this attitude that I have is after we lose the client, not when we have one. I got a lot of bravado after the fact, but during the fact, I'm like, oh yes, sir. Someone help this guy, you know.
Bravado? Bravado.
Bravado.
Okay. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm sorry. He's the words guy. Me not so much.
So.
What did I say?
You said bravado.
How do you say it?
Bravado.
Bravado. Damn it. Hey there guys, it's Nolan Walker and Jason, Director of Operations here at HVAC Webmasters.
Howdy.
All right, today's title is a true client story, and it is titled, You Don't Have to Be Perfect to Win at HVAC SEO. So,
okay, this should be interesting.
yeah, I did this one because I just had a...
I don't hear about these before we do them, so I have no idea what we're talking about.
So talking to this guy, and I guess the stuff that hits me about this is that he's a pretty aggressive marketer, except online, right? So except with his organic side of things.
Yeah.
So he's spending $16,000 in pay-per-click.
A month?
A month.
Good Lord.
And he had two businesses. So he had like HVAC and he had like foundation repair. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but he spends all of this on, so he's spending this money on this stuff, and he's doing some print and other stuff, and he actually spends over 20. Wow. And most of it.
I mean, that's nice hearing somebody is willing to spend money on their marketing budget.
Yeah.
But.
So he's going into HVAC. Most of it's on this other company. So this is all on one so far. Presumably he's looking down the barrel of this other company and wants to get this one going.
Right.
And one of the questions I asked him, I said, so, you're an aggressive marketer then, right? And he said, well, yeah. I said, how long you been doing this stuff for? He said, well, I've been doing this for like 3 years. And I said, okay, so, and of course he's upset with SEO and he doesn't understand it and people have messed him around. And, I mean, I've literally heard this story thousands of times.
Yeah, yeah.
And because everybody gets messed around, which is why we do month to month with people and let them in easy, and then
transparency in billing,
hoping $99 to start usually. Most of our clients stay for years because of quality of work.
Right.
He actually asked me that question. I'll segue for a second because he said, Nolan, why have people not been happy with your services? So he hit me with this almost like an interviewer question, like out of nowhere, and just kind of got boom.
What do you consider your greatest weakness?
Yeah, he came off and just slapped me.
It's just that I care too much.
I wish I had thought of, dang it, that would have been good. But yeah, so I laughed and I was
you could have told him about the client recently
yeah.
that called up wanting to cancel because he said we had made him so busy that he couldn't devote the time he needed to the marketing. That is not a joke.
What happened with that client? Are they still a client?
No, unfortunately.
Wow.
Wow. He actually left us, and he had no complaints about our service whatsoever.
He was too busy.
He literally told me that we had gotten him so much business that he felt like he couldn't give the site, us, the attention we deserved to do stuff on the site.
The only attention we deserve.
So he hired an internal guy to do it.
You're aware of the only attention we deserve. Our paycheck each
month.
Our paycheck. And I'm not shy about it. We do a great job for people.
That's what we do it for.
You know what happens when you hire an internal person? You lose the 30 people that we have.
Right.
You get one person that pours sap.
30 people, probably a combined, half a century of expertise.
So this, okay, so this actually segues really nicely. It's over half a century, man. Me and you together.
Or yeah, that's true. Me and you, just the two of us is half a century.
And one of the other principals is half a century.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, as you can tell by my throat clearing. So
it's fall in Texas, ragweed season.
Yeah, it's a lot of allergies around. I'm actually doing really well. I feel good,
I feel better today than I did earlier in the week.
I haven't felt bad at all, but I definitely have some congestion from it. Okay, So that story segued into it really well.
Yeah.
Slightly off the category topic, but I'll get back to that. He asked me what we did wrong, basically. And I said, you know, if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, we've been doing this for 10 years, I might look up and say, well, we could have done this or that better. And I said, the truth of the fact now is that we don't lose a client from what we did. We lose a client from their perception, their ego, their extra testosterone, their wild hair and testosterone combined. Someone just sold them and they decided.
Pride.
But we don't lose a. So that's a perfect deal. This guy got so busy, and Jason's nicer than I am about it. But you know why he left.
Yeah.
Because he's egotistical.
Yeah.
And testosterone and prideful. And so he got busy and made a bunch of money, so much money. Guys, if you think that I'm being rude about this, think about the stance of this for a second. He made so much money that he could afford an in-house marketing person. And what you guys don't know, I guess, that
He claimed he was so busy that he forgot for 6 months to call us and ask us to make a small change on the site. He was so busy that he couldn't remember to
So
do
he's
that.
willing. So you know, and
That was the argument.
let me ask you, without me telling the people, how much more times of money, how much more money percentage-wise does he spend now than what he used to spend with us?
Oh, I would guess he's paying out a minimum of quadruple.
Okay, I was going to say
depending
400.
on the experience.
We should have hit and then hit our hands, but
depending on the experience of the marketer,
400%
minimum
more.
Quadruple.
Right.
Maybe more. If he decided to get somebody that's been in the game for 10 years and really,
this is like a
blew
tag
smoke up his
team.
ass.
This is a double two client story here, by the way.
Yeah.
So this guy did so well that he hired an internal marketer. What he doesn't understand is he hit the lottery when he called the webmasters.
Right.
When he got HVAC webmasters, he got one of the only few high integrity, ethical, skilled webmasters in the country with HVAC webmasters to do his HVAC SEO work. And he disassociated his newfound success with that. He lost all the stuff that we've done, and now he's got this poor guy that couldn't possibly turnkey services. In fact, it's not even that, and you guys would just think that I was spinning this in my favor, but I know that compared to the mind dump of information he has here, comparatively, that individual's an idiot. Right?
You know what?
Not.
I'm going to be nicer than you because I usually am.
Okay, go ahead.
Even if he got a really solid marketing director,
okay,
that's still one person to 20 or 30.
Right.
That person can't do everything. So what really happens is he's now paying that quadruple for that marketing director, right?
Quadruple.
And then minimum. And then, and here's the really damning thing.
Right.
That marketing director isn't even going to try to do anything. That marketing director is then going to contract to people he knows in the business, because that's what really happens. Is it's a very incestuous business. And he's going to go to his friends who do web design, his friend that does this and that.
You know what the business owner, so I go back to devil's, you know what the business owner is going to do? He's going to get pissed off when that happens.
Well, yeah, but it's what's going to happen.
No, so here's the that scenario could happen.
Yeah.
But the scenario that I see happening, because this is you take out of the fact that this is a high testosterone, ego-based guy,
right,
that made this move, right? He is not going to let that guy do that. This web person is going to sense this, and he's not going to use everything.
Yeah.
He's going to go get his cheap website and all that, and he's going to be scared to do that. Because I know, because they call me. They say, could you please do this for me? I was like, I work over at this company with this guy. He's really mean. I don't want to lose my job. I was like, I'm sorry, Bob. We couldn't possibly do that for you. And I've said this over 100 times. I said, now what we could do is do everything, and it would be fantastic, but then the business
he would have to fire you.
Wouldn't need you, Bob. And I said, and I've actually I quit saying this, but I'd go and say, I used to say, they should call us if you end up losing your job because things aren't done well.
Sorry, not sorry.
Send them our way. And people be like, but I hear the desperation, the voice, because they can't do the services that they want.
And part of that is sometimes the business owners, they want a person. They can't afford a team of 5 or a team of 10 or a team of 20 or 30.
Okay.
So they want one person under their thumb that they can say, do this now. But that person can't do everything.
No.
You know, we had a client who was actually still a client, and a happy one, by the way.
You're still being very nice, by the way.
And a different client
towards that person.
They'd been with us for about a year, and they hired an internal marketing person.
Yeah.
And I give this client a lot of credit because they tried this out, and after 6 months, they realized this guy can't do anything, and they fired him.
They stayed on with us.
Yeah, they're still with us, and they're very happy.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
They actually have 2 businesses with us.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And we made both of them into rock stars. Didn't
Exactly.
We? So let's talk about this one thing, and we'll get back to not having to be perfect. This is a double true client story.
Yes.
So Jason, how many people in this office, because where he was still being nice about the on-staff person, for one thing, just to get in this a little bit more, you guys don't know enough to manage an on-staff person.
Right.
You absolutely don't know enough. Are there things that you could do in your office to help? Yes, you could go after your reviews and do photos and post to Facebook and stuff like that. But you can't do all this other stuff.
And that's okay, because you're an HVAC guy.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Owner.
That's what we're here for. Yeah. We're here to say yes, sir, and do the work.
Right.
Not all this attitude that I have is after we lose the client, not when we have one. I got bought a bravado after the fact, but during the fact, I'm like, oh yes, sir, someone help this guy, you know.
Bravado? Bravado.
Bravado.
Okay. I'm like, what the hell?
I'm sorry. He's a words guy. Me not so much.
So.
What did I say?
You said bravado.
How do you say it?
Bravado.
Bravado. Damn it. Anyway, so you got this guy in there, and he can't do the work anyway. And how many people, and really where you're being nice about is that you know that most people hired for this, really, he said could maybe do a few things. They're really not skilled at anything.
I try not to slam the people in my industry.
They're not really skilled at much
but
when they're in there.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I couldn't do it.
Okay, that segues into the next topic.
Okay.
How many people in this office could do 80% of what we do?
Almost none of them. And none of them.
I
don't even think I
would
could.
you work for quadruple what he paid us for this guy?
No.
Yeah. So
I'm expensive, man.
Right.
You know that.
I'm just letting them understand the whole scenario.
Yeah. I could do a lot of it just because experience, been doing it a long
The
time.
fact that
and if I only had one client to handle, I could do a lot of it. But there's areas that I don't understand. For instance, I'm not a writer.
Right.
I manage the writers, but I'm not a writer myself. And if you ask me to write the content, it wouldn't probably be so great.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, so listen, that's an important thing. Like I said, this is a double true client story, but that one really gets me going, you know, on that stuff. It's just a shame when we have a deal like that where a guy gets that successful, hires somebody, and lets their ego step in the way and then lose it. What they should have done was, I'm so successful, this is so great. What could I do more with you guys? And if it's not with y'all, what would be my next step to better my business?
Right.
You know, so that the funds that he did spend were directed properly and grew the business.
Right.
Is there something that someone could do internally that would be different than y'all did that would help out? We would have had some expert advice for that, right?
Right.
And so...
Probably mostly centering around reviews.
Yeah, and pictures and other stuff.
Reviews, pictures... doing your own personalized social media posting.
So this leads to the next topic that we're talking about. You don't have to be perfect to win at HVAC SEO.
Right.
So the guy calls up, and we might get him as a client. I mean, we should. Who else is he going to go with, Jason?
Nobody! That's who!
I mean, who else can do this stuff? Anyway, so with a good attitude. I coined a phrase one time called "web geek cocky" because I hate it. Please don't misunderstand my candid conversations about stuff with the way that I deal with you guys when you're a client, because we have a very respectful crowd, and I'm very grateful to have new business. So this guy, we're talking to, and we're having what I call this psychological rehabilitation.
Yeah. You
know, that he's been burned by people, and he's paying more than we're going to charge him right now for
way more.
Absolutely nothing. No. I mean, on his SEO, he's paying him more. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's paying.
I thought you were just talking about the PPC.
No,
oh, good
he's
Lord.
got this horrible site with 5-6 service pages, And you know, and it never gets worked on. It's this horrible little blog on the back. The front end navigation was so poor, I didn't think he had any pages until I found some intersite links somewhere.
Wow.
So, and it's obviously a template, and it's got ridiculously old, you know, stock photography on it, and the Google account. And there's no integrated reviews and all this stuff. And so I'm going over it with him, and I'm like, and then we start going down this rabbit hole of stuff because he does kind of like marketing because he's paying for clicks. He used to spend 20 grand just with, I don't want to say these companies, but one of the main lead providers that sells leads to other people.
I know who you're talking about. We all know who he's talking about.
So he was spending $20,000 in a major metropolitan area of 3 or 4 million people.
Wow.
For getting these leads. And he was trying to get off of that, but he got off of that by spending more money on pay-per-click, which is okay, but all the money goes to other sources to build other people's platforms instead of investing in SEO, which could have built his own platform,
right?
Driven the cost of leads down to a quarter of what he's paying.
Or less.
Or, well, yeah. I'm sorry, we're nowhere.
Yeah.
He could have us do 20 websites, yeah, or something.
Yeah, I mean, this is
but so I mean, and in this case, I said, look, this isn't like a trick or anything. You would want our highest level because it's so vastly less expensive and it's still a drop compared to what you're paying.
Right.
And it has the ability to have like a 500% better return, if not in his case even more. In his case, he would still do some PPC because he's so aggressive.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, over time, his PPC bill could gradually come down.
Jason,
as his SEO.
He spends so much money that he could immediately just deduct it.
Yeah.
The site's already been up for a little while. He would get an immediate bump on
he
organic,
would see very, very fast
and
results.
it would level instantly almost. And then he could lower the throttle on pay-per-click budget down eventually to maybe $5,000 or something, and still get more leads.
Right.
That's where the return begins to be 300, 500% better. And so we're going over this stuff, and the conversation lasted, I had to look it up, but it's 59 minutes and 26 seconds or something. Because I looked at it and I'm like, oh wow, that was a long call, but it was a really good call with 2 really smart businessmen.
Oh, so there's a third guy?
And I enjoyed it. I'll give you some on that one, man. Damn it.
It was a total miss.
Yeah, that was bad. It was my left hand anyway.
Yeah, I had got that bad one on camera.
My gimpy hand. Anyway, so I don't know, man. And we had this long conversation, and it was a good talk, but it went so long that we got into like all these forms of marketing, and I could tell that his head was kind of swimming around it. And I thought I'd come on here and say, hey, you know, I said, look, let's stop this and break it down a minute again. Let's say, okay, so we do this organic side of thing, and I won't go over all that right now, but we do all this organic work, but you don't have to write the content or do the blogging or the code base and the citations. We do all that work for you.
Yeah, we do that for you.
We integrate the reviews into each page and city pages and service pages. Said, and he's talking about, well, you know, how do you get dominant? Because he was talking about branding, and we brought up EAT and expertise, authority, and trust. I said, look, here's the truth of the matter. Most people don't ever come and get quality web services.
Right.
They're too upset about stuff. They want to pay the cheapest trash they can and spend $300 and wonder why it doesn't work while they spend, you know, $20,000 on other stuff. That is the average thing they have. Now this
we see it all the time.
This guy's a little above the average spend rate for stuff. But we're talked about all this stuff. I said, look, you don't actually have to do all this. If you hook up with all of our foundational best practices that get graded, and lots of content and code base and all that, and review integration, if you just worked righteous reviews that updated your service pages and city pages with custom photos, captions, and check-ins, that is far superior to what anybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And that is enough to send signals to Google that you're authority on the subject matter, and you'll have fabulous rankings as a result of it.
You don't have to have the perfect presence. You have to have the best presence in your market.
There you go. So that's kind of the point I wanted to make out of all this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal it.
No, it's all right. You've really hit me below the belt multiple times. I can't talk properly. I forgot what the last insult was, but anyway, so.
It was you said too smart businessman.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so
shouldn't throw me softballs like that.
no, it's all right. It's all right. I'm a little weakened today. I'm open for attack right now. But I'm usually my defense mechanism's up. Anyway, so we had these conversations about this stuff, and it's like you really do just have to win the race in that market because all of your competitors suck so badly. Even the ones that you want to be like, even the ones that you want to emulate, the ones you admire at the top of the search rankings, they're so remiss typically in what they do. There is never more than a couple of guys in any one market that would be anywhere near of a competitive level for the level of work that we do.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
To see 5 guys, you've got to get
Uncanny.
in a top 20 in the country size market. You've got to be in a metropolitan area.
But still, there wouldn't be more than 2 of those guys that would be on our SEO level.
Yeah.
But
I just meant 5 guys doing anything
really
close to
starting to work it. Now, if you all of a sudden, since we have since a couple of the principals here are principals in another corporation that happens to work with software that integrates, that's not even available.
Right.
So when you look at it from that standpoint and the amount of changes that go into individual pages that are clues to optimize, then really that's all you need to do.
Right.
And
just to be clear, we don't like look at your market and say, okay, we can sort of half-ass it because no one else is doing anything here. We do our full effort for everybody. Because although you may not need, you might be able to do okay without everything we can do, we're also trying to sort of insulate you from a competitor suddenly getting wise and doing things properly.
Right.
So no matter where you are, we do our best effort for everybody.
I was talking to him and he was looking at some of my stuff. I said, well, look, we've got competition worldwide on stuff that we do.
Right.
So you don't have to do everything that we do. We do a lot of work. And I said, and the reality is, I still don't do everything, but we dominate our categories.
Absolutely.
So it's not like we dominate our categories on hundreds of keywords in the top 3 because we're one of the best there is. But I don't have time to go do every stinking thing there is. Right. I said, you don't.
Almost nobody does.
Yeah, you don't have to go do everything there is either. You just have to be better than other people there, and with our help, that's not a difficult thing to do.
Not at all.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I had anything else there. Don't have to do everything. Reviews important. Oh, he was talking about videos and all that stuff. I said, look, this is where you start. I was trying to explain to him too. I said, okay, how long you been paying this money? And he said, about 3 years. I said, okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. I said, so you started 3 years. I said, did you ever work and pay online before that? And he said, no, not. And I said, okay, so you could pay for clicks back in, I think, 03 or something, or 01, or I don't remember when. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So they started out at a nickel. I said, this hasn't risen with inflation. This has been like exponential growth.
Right.
And so I said, I'm going to leave a reasonable seed of fear in your head. I said, because you're spending so much money, not just spend a minutia amount on organic. I said, the amount you're paying is going to double,
Yeah.
And if you don't get after,
is.
and there's this little thing called Google Local now called GMB or Google My Business, and the whole premise of Google on a local level is based upon showing legitimate businesses on organic and mapping and reviews.
Right.
That's the premise for the surge. And it's the largest marketing vehicle ever available, and you're not participating in it, and your amount of spend rate for paid just barely begun. And I said, you don't realize the exponential increase in it.
Right.
You have no idea.
Yeah, it's just going to keep going up. It's never going to get cheaper.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's easy to see why guys get sort of addicted to pay-per-click. It's very immediate. You pay
or
this
leads,
much.
or
That and leads, and you get those clicks. You pay this much money, you get about this many clicks, and you can see that on a report. And it's always very easy to see.
Yeah.
SEO tends to be a little softer. It's a long-term process. Some people get frustrated with it, but over time, SEO it's not just better return on your money, it's a better long-term investment because the type of leads you get through organic just tend to be better leads.
I forgot that. I did go over that guy. I said, you're missing something here probably that you haven't even experienced. And it's he was getting all sorts of misinformation too, by the way. His web guy was saying, I said, how many, I don't know if it came up or if he told me, but I said, how many organic, do you get much off your organic website? Well, early in the conversation, they said they'd search some of his keyword terms. He's on page 4 or 5.
Which means no.
Which means no. But then 4 or 5 minutes later, after hearing that bit of information, I said, how many organic, do you get any business off your organic site? He said, oh, I get 1,000 organic clicks. I said, no, you don't. You absolutely
don't. If you're on page 4 or 5.
And then I said, do you get like 80, calls or so? He said, well, 80, 100 calls. He said, well, yeah. I said, off of organic? Well, I don't know for sure. I said, sir, that's off of $20,000 in ad spend.
Yeah.
Not off of organic. I said, you just said earlier that you didn't have.
If you're on page 4, nobody looking.
He's
in
not
their
on
local
map
market,
either. He's on nothing. So.
Yeah. No, nobody on your local market, no matter where you are, who says, oh, I need my AC fixed. Yeah. Nobody is clicking through to the 4th page of Google to find that guy.
He didn't know. And the thing is, one of the things that we was frustrated about, and the reason I tell true client stories is because they're all frustrated.
Right.
The web guy's lying to him. He doesn't get 1,000 unique organic clicks when he's on page 5, and if he did,
no way in hell.
He'd be getting another 100 calls a month.
Right.
And so that doesn't actually happen, and he hasn't ever experienced it. And what needs to happen with every business owner is they need to work their butts off to get their organic presence.
Right. 1,000 unique organic clicks a month for a local HVAC company would be knocking it out of every park. I mean, I
have a hard time putting it in my head on it, but I mean, it's not that. So if you have an average of a $15 click,
yeah,
it's $15,000 worth of paid.
Right.
And I can't do the conversion on the percentage better that is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'm not math either.
Yeah, but at least he's English. What do I have then? What skills do I have, Jason? Why am I here? All right.
It's too close to the end of the day.
You don't have enough time
for me to think about that.
Oh my gosh. All right. So yeah, guys, if you're in the market, if you want to have some quality skilled work done, we'd really like to help out. And I'm happy to answer all this stuff. I am. I just, these are good things. I swear this is therapeutic for me to sit here and talk about these true client stories. Anyway.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
He doesn't have to hear it then later, right?
Well, no, I have to hear it right now.
Yeah, but at least it's, it's better, isn't it?
It is a little bit because I get to, take part.
You get to take cheap shots at me.
That is actually the therapeutic part for me.
Right.
So,
all right, guys, we'll see you later.
Take it easy.